There are moments in life when the world seems to test how much light you can hold, even when everything around you feels dark. This is the story of a single candle, flickering in the middle of a storm. A story that reminds us that even the smallest light can change everything. It was a cold, rainy evening. The streets were empty, the sky heavy with thunder, and the wind howled through the broken windows of an old shop at the corner of town. Inside sat an elderly man named Remen, his wrinkled hands trembling slightly as he tried to light a small candle. The power had gone out hours ago, and the storm outside showed no signs of stopping. He lived alone, surrounded by memories of a life that once was faded photographs, dusty books, and an old radio that hadn't worked in years. As he finally managed to light the candle, a soft glow filled the room. It wasn't much, but it was enough to push back the shadows. He smiled faintly, whispering to himself, "One small light. That's all it takes." Outside, the wind screamed against the walls, shaking the door violently. But Remen didn't move. He just sat there, watching the little flame dance bravely against the storm. A few moments later, a knock echoed through the door, soft at first, then louder. Remen hesitated. Who could be out there in this weather? When he opened the door, a young boy stood shivering, drenched from head to toe, his face pale and frightened. "Please, sir," the boy said through chattering teeth. "My mother, she's hurt. Our house, it fell." Without a second thought, Remen grabbed his coat and the small candle from the table. "Show me the way," he said. The boy led him through the flooded streets, holding his hand tightly as they moved through the darkness. Every gust of wind threatened to blow out the candle, but Remen shielded it carefully with his other hand. The flame wavered, but it never died. Step by step, they walked through the storm, guided by nothing but that fragile light. Finally, they reached a small wooden hut, half collapsed under the weight of the rain. Inside, a woman lay unconscious, her leg pinned under a fallen beam. Remen set the candle down on a rock beside her. The light flickered softly over her face, revealing deep cuts and bruises. The old man's hands shook as he used a crowbar to lift the beam, freeing her leg. The boy tried to help, tears streaming down his face, but Remen smiled gently. "Don't cry, son. She's breathing. That's what matters." For the next hour, the old man worked tirelessly, cleaning the woman's wounds, wrapping her leg with cloth, and keeping her warm by the candlelight. The storm outside raged louder, but inside that small hut, a quiet strength filled the air. When the woman finally opened her eyes, the boy rushed to her side, hugging her tightly. Remen leaned back, exhaustion washing over him. The candle burned low, its light steady and calm. The boy turned to him and whispered, "You saved her. Thank you." The old man smiled. "No, son, the light did." He pointed at the small candle, still glowing between them. "Sometimes, that's all we need, a little light to remind us not to give up." By morning, the storm had passed. The sky was clear, painted in shades of gold and blue. The woman was weak, but alive. Remen stood outside the hut, watching the sunrise, his coat still damp from the night before. The boy ran up to him, holding something in his small hands. It was the candle, melted halfway down, but still usable. "You should keep it," the boy said. Remen shook his head. "No, you keep it. Whenever life gets dark, remember what this little flame did for us." Years passed. The boy grew up, but he never forgot that night. He became a doctor, helping others, carrying that same candle with him wherever he went, a reminder that light isn't always about brightness. It's about hope. It's about courage. It's about standing tall when the world wants you to fall. One day, many years later, as the boy now a man stood in his clinic during another thunderstorm, the light suddenly went out. Panic filled the room as patients started to murmur in fear. He reached into his drawer and pulled out that same old candle, now cracked and worn. As he lit it, the soft glow spread across the faces of those around him. "Don't worry," he said with a gentle smile. "We'll be fine." In that moment, he realized something powerful. The light that old man had once carried wasn't just a flame. It was faith. It was resilience. It was love in its simplest form. A single act of kindness that had survived through time, passed from one soul to another. Sometimes we think our efforts are too small to matter. We believe our light isn't bright enough, our actions too insignificant to make a difference. But what if that tiny spark you hold becomes the reason someone else finds hope again? What if your small kindness becomes the light that guides another person out of their storm? The truth is, you don't have to change the world. You just have to shine where you are. Because even in the darkest storm, one candle can make all the difference. So, the next time life feels overwhelming, remember Remen and that young boy. Remember the candle that refused to go out. Let it remind you that strength isn't about how loud you roar it, about how quietly you continue to shine, even when the wind tries to break you. And if this story touched your heart, take a moment to share it. Someone out there might need this light today. Subscribe for more inspiring stories like this. Leave a comment to share your thoughts and keep spreading hope. Because together we can make sure the light never fades.